We have big news. We have exciting news for you. Tell them what it is, Serena.
We are super excited to announce that we are starting our first membership this January 2024.
Yay! Membership.
So we're excited to let you know that we will be hosting a monthly membership where when you join, you will be
with us live in a Zoom room once a month for a workshop like we just hosted. It's going to be a workshop like that, one topic each month, a different topic. You might even help us come up with the following month's topic from inside our membership. Super excited to meet you. It was so fun meeting a few of you in our inaugural workshop. So we're really looking forward to that.
And when you are a member, you will also be receiving a monthly newsletter where I'm going to be a little more intimate and I'll be sharing the things that are working and the things that aren't working for me.
Yeah, like taking a tool that you've learned from the podcast and how you're implementing it and how well that worked, or maybe if it didn't work. And then Amma can put in my 2 bits worth. We'll see how that goes. But a membership newsletter and a membership live Zoom room workshop starting in January 2024. Can sign up through our Patreon link in the show notes, yeah?
Yes, everything will be in the show notes, and we can't wait to see you there, listeners.
We can't wait. Yay!
Welcome back to the Nurturing Parent Podcast. Today we have the second part to our 2-part interview with Ginny Yurich, the creator of 1,000 Hours Outside. And we also wanted to say congratulations because today she is releasing her book, Until the Streetlights Come On. So if you have been feeling inspired by Ginny, we know that you will be inspired by her book and hope that you go out and get your copy today if you haven't already. So I brought the interview back a little bit, and if you haven't listened to the first part, go listen to that now. It's amazing. She's amazing. We loved having her. But before we dive into this week's episode, we just wanted to remind you that this November 20th, we will be hosting a boundaries workshop. So if you're interested in joining us via Zoom, you can email us and in the subject, just put boundaries and we would be happy to send you the Zoom link. That will be November 20th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be a quick 30-minute workshop, and then if you can stay longer, we'd love to have you stay. And if you have any questions, we are more than happy to answer them. Again, that is November 20th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can email us. Our email is in the show notes, and in the subject, just put boundaries, and we will send you the Zoom link. Boundaries are very important, very necessary, but it's also a hard concept to grasp. We'd love to help moms work on it because they're very vital in maintaining healthy relationships. We hope to see you there. And now let's get back to our interview with Ginny.
Hey, Mama. Welcome to the Nurturing Parent Podcast. Do you want to end the constant battles for bath time? Do you find yourself emotionally exhausted at the end of the day? Do you wake up with big hopes for a smooth day of fun with your little ones, only to face an early morning meltdown because you peeled their banana the wrong way?
Silly you.
Silly you.
Hey, I'm Serena. I'm a mama of 2 little ones, and as a new mama, I constantly questioned myself. I wanted to make sure I was raising respectful kids while also building a strong bond with them. But I discovered that I had to unlearn my ideas that punishment was the way. With Lisa's encouragement, I've been practicing a respectful and gentle parenting approach, which is strengthening our bond as a family.
And hi, I'm Lisa. Amma means grandmother in Icelandic. I am a mama and an amma. And I have over 40 years of experience in childcare and parent coaching. And I am so excited to share the knowledge I've gained over these years with you.
Together in this podcast, each week we will explore some easy to implement skills you can add to your parenting tool belt to help you create a happy, thriving family.
I mean, even something as simple as spinning So this is something that kids do, right? So they like to do somersaults. They like to do cartwheels. They like to roll down the hill and they're spinning going down. These are things that they do all on their own. And our brains have what's called it's our bodies. It's called the vestibular sense. So it's one of our senses, right? We have sight and smell and taste and all those ones, but there's other ones too. And the vestibular sense is what they call a foundational sense. All the other senses are built upon it. They have to be integrated in order for you to learn. And the way that the vestibular sense is activated and developed is by getting your head out of an upright position. And so this is like what kids do. They do those wheelbarrow races and they roll and they roughhouse and they swing and they throw their head back. In all of these things, they're activating and developing this vestibular sense in a way that's going to help integrate all the other senses so that they can learn in an optimal way. And no one has to tell them to do those things. In fact, I think we're trying to tell them to stop those things. I mean, that tends to be the way of the adult, which is stop spinning. You're going to get dizzy. You're going to get hurt. We've taken the merry-go-rounds out of the playgrounds, all these different things. But when we step back and trust, I think that's the perfect word, Lisa. Like we trust their bodies. We trust them to know, then they go really far.
Wow.
Beautiful. Love now that the brain science and you are pointing to that so much right now, because there's been such, for I don't know how many decades, 2 or 3, I don't know, 4, where parents want their child in the best possible preschool so they can get into the best school, so they can get into the best universities. And I'm like, seriously, this is a 3-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary to me. Because
it's just misguided. And I think that's the saddest part of it. It's wrong. It's just we're going down the wrong path. We've doubled down on these old ways and they don't work anymore. And maybe they worked but school used to be different. Teachers were autonomous. When I was growing up, teachers had autonomy in their classrooms and they don't anymore. So I taught in the public schools. It was like every single algebra class has to look exactly the same. Every single second grade class has to look exactly the same. And so teachers lost that push and pull and their ability to adjust to the kids in their classroom. It all has to be the same. But we were preparing kids for jobs that lasted for a lifetime. That's how jobs used to be. You start work at 22, you end when you're 52 or 25 to 55. You have one set of coworkers and you work your way through. Well, they say kids today, they're going to have 4 different jobs on average, right out of college or end of high school, that first decade of working, they're going to have 4 different jobs. So that's 4 different sets of coworkers, 4 different sets of environments to learn the new things. We have to have kids that are adaptable and are resilient and gritty and creative. And all those things do not come from sitting at a desk. Like we have the desk time down. In fact, when I was talking to this Angela Hanscom who wrote Balanced and Barefoot, she said 9 hours a day is the average amount of time kids are sitting at a desk. 9 hours sitting, maybe not at a desk, just sitting, 9 hours a day of sitting. Like that's enough. It's too much. Yeah. So we're doing the wrong things. I think if you want to prepare your kids to get into a good college or to have a good career, they've got to be the ones that can ask good questions and that can create something out of nothing, that can make good decisions. Because these college professors, I just talked to one named Dr. Jean Twangy, who studies generational changes. And she's out in California. And she said, these kids are coming now, this is recent, into college. And she said they can't even make simple decisions without texting their parents. It's really showing up in adult life.
Yeah, that's been my concern for a while. How is these next generations actually even going to survive, let alone step into solid, powerful leadership, on whatever level, in their family, in their community, in the world, in the country, in the world, whatever. And just being not even leadership, but just being a secure adult being who knows their place in the world and knows that they're making a great difference in the world, like all the things that we wish for our children. So I love this. I love this information that you're bringing to us, Ginny, that really points to, it's not just fun that we're talking about going outside. It's fun. It's wonderful. It's, our children get to be expressive. They get to be creative in what they're learning and discovering. It gives us freedom and that moment to take those breaths and to be with your partner or your girlfriends or whatever. And it's setting them up for that resilience and that success in their adult future lives.
Mm-hmm.
And then the physical part, like, jumping off a log is helping build their bone structure. Come on, this is amazing. It's just all there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's simplicity, but it really makes such a huge difference. Like there's some information out there about how if you go outside in the morning, it's just one small thing. If you go outside in the morning and you let that full spectrum sunlight go through your eyes, hit your brain, your body releases serotonin, you reset all these body systems. There's 100 body systems that depend on the day and night cycle. And that's not reset when we're inside. We got to get outside to do that. So you go outside, you reset these systems, your body releases serotonin. That makes you feel good. So you start off the day, you feel good. And as time progresses at night, that serotonin turns into melatonin and makes you sleepy. So this is how we're meant to live. Our bodies are meant to be exposed to the spectrum of light, to the changing colors of the day, all of these things. And it's helping our kids with their eyesight. It's helping, like we talked about, with their neural wiring. It's helping them find respite. This is a changing world. It can be a scary place. And kids have issues just like adults have issues. And so when we go outside, we find respite for our souls. The kids can breathe too. So much is happening during indoor play too, but outdoor play really takes the cake in terms of, I think, the natural colors and the smells and the sights and the sounds and all of that and the open-ended possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the what it does for our emotional well-being, and socializing. My two grandsons were with me a few years ago. The oldest would have been 5 or 6, 7 maybe. And I insisted that we go for a walk because they were getting, and I said, okay, it is walking time. We are going for a walk. I need to gather some herbs down at the farm next door. Let's go. And the older one was really resistant, which was unusual for him. And he was just feeling cranky. He was mad at his little brother, was being a brat to him, all the things, right? We'd go down, we'd get to the farm. There's a creek. He's like, can I go play by the creek? I'm like, of course you can. I can see him. I'm keeping him in my eyesight, but he's down by the creek. He's down there and he's just for the longest time. And then he comes back to me and he says, Amma, you were right. I feel better.
Aw.
like,
What a life lesson, though. I think that we risk having kids who don't know that at all, that they get to their adult life and they have really hard times, or someone passes, or they're grieving, they lose a job, they lose a friend, all of these different things. And they just don't know. They don't have any idea that these analog experiences can do so much for them. These simple things, going down by the creek, taking a walk in the woods, can shift their whole perspective. And so it's so important for our kids to have that modeled for them and to have those tools in their tool belts for when they become older.
Yeah. So I just want to throw something else in, because you had just said, getting outside in the morning, and I'm guessing that that's pretty close to waking up time, that it's best to get outside. Do you have any other real quick tips that a parent might do if they're not able to get out for these 4 to 6 hours? What else could our parents, our listeners do that would help get them in these directions?
Mm-hmm. Well, anything you can do indoors, if you can possibly shift it to go outside, that's going to make a big difference. I think the knowledge of knowing this is not just like hiking through the woods and climbing trees and going to a waterfall. This is like, hey, can you take your meal outside? Can you eat your breakfast on the porch? Can you sit on your front steps? Could you go out on your balcony? Maybe if you're in an apartment, you have a little balcony area. Could you go out there and read your book? Could you take your schoolwork out there and do it? Because every time we do that, we're having this sensory experience. The wind is in our face, the smells, the whole surround sound of nature. This is actually doing a lot for us. So I think if we can't start with large chunks, and maybe you can do one large chunk on a weekend, could you go for 3 hours on a weekend and find that time to go be as your family and to do some things outside? But if you're looking at smaller pieces of time, look at what you're already doing and see, can I move this outside? Could I fold my laundry out there? Could we have story time, or whatever it is that we're doing? Could we shift that outside? Could we play our game of cards? That type of thing. And I think those little things add up. And I think the most important thing to know is that it really matters. it really matters a lot for our kids and their well-being and for us and our well-being. It does more for them, I think, than we even realize. Things are continuing to come out about how the smells of the trees and all these different things, that bird song is what makes us feel the most at peace. All these different things that you wouldn't even really realize are happening, but they're doing so much for us. So it's that. I've heard some people talk about get up and move. So if you can bike to school, like you were talking about, Lisa, they say that's one of the best things that you can do. If your kids go to a school and you could walk or bike so you can get up and get a little bit of movement in the morning, that's really going to set them up well for the day.
Beautiful. Those are simple and easy to implement. I love that.
I have a question, because for me, sometimes having my 3-year-old, and I try to stay as far away from the screens as I can, but with the majority of people watching it, she gets enticed. So how can I make getting outside more attractive than her wanting to watch these short little YouTube videos that minimize their attention spans and have no point?
Yeah, I don't think it is more attractive until you actually go do it. And I think
Mhm.
that's the tricky part,
Yeah.
is that that's what the problem is that everyone is more enticed by their screen, and you have to make that conscious decision to say, I'm going to set this aside and go do something else. And when you get there, then you feel better. I always say I like to be outside, but I don't like to go outside. The act of going, the act of getting everybody ready and making sure water bottles are filled, this is a lot of work. But when you get there, everyone feels better. And I think our kids need to have those experiences so they know what it's like for them to have analog, non-screen experiences. So over time, they have this foundation of knowing this is really worth my time. And in time, it happens. But I mean, I would say, look, YouTube is meant to be more enticing than anything else. That's how they're making their
Right.
money.
Right.
Serena, you had talked about how sometimes when you say, okay, let's go outside, and your 3-year-old will say, no.
Yeah. And
all you need as an exhausted mama to go, okay.
yes.
But do you have any tricks for our
Yeah,
listeners?
it's friends. It's friends. It's friends and food.
Mhm.
That's part of it. And
And food.
you have to be kind of creative. I think sometimes it's like, well, we're going to go check out this new playground. A lot of the schools, I think this is a good little tip, because schools are paid for by tax dollars. A lot of times when schools close at 4:30, those playgrounds are open. So we'll go do like a playground hop. We're going to go from school to school on a weekend. We can go from this playground to that playground, and they're all different, and that's kind of fun. But I think for us, it was like, hey, well, if Isaac is going to be there, well, then the kids, they want to go, or they want to see their friends. Janelle's going to be there. Okay, they want to go. They want to see their friends. And I really think that's one of the biggest things to get over a hump. Maybe a special snack too. That could be something that you use. I was like, well, when we go, we get this special treat or whatever it is, a trail mix or whatever it is that you're doing for your snack. So that works too. But my kids don't ever want to go outside, ever, really, unless there are friends involved. And that's been since
In
they were
your
really small.
to go outside 1,000
Yeah.
hours.
No,
Wow.
they don't ever want to go outside. Are you kidding me? Nobody wants to go outside. But if I say, hey, we're meeting up with so-and-so at the beach, or we're meeting up with so-and-so at this trail, then yes, we're going to go play basketball at this park. They want to go every time.
That's so true.
So make it enticing. I love it.
Yeah.
And what came to my mind is creating some kind of a game that would be enticing. Okay, we're going to find things that start with the letter R, and you can take this chalk and write an R on a rock, or whatever it is, right? Like whether it's letters or something that would make it enticing to go out. Yeah. So I just wanted to read our listeners this quote from you, Ginny. Overwhelmed parents can move beyond their exhaustion to experience relief, joy, connection, respite, and delight as they learn to embrace the creativity of old-fashioned play, all while raising children who are better prepared for their future. I just think that really wraps up beautifully what you've been sharing with us today.
Thank you. I think the point is that we can have a really good today. We can have a really full today. We can really embrace today for everything that it has instead of looking at today as solely a preparation for tomorrow. And I think you brought that up earlier, Serena. I think this is where we've kind of gone amiss, is that we've turned our days into solely a preparation for tomorrow. And that doesn't work. Because who knows what tomorrow is going to be like? Who knew 10 years ago that you would be sitting here doing a podcast? Nobody even knew what that was, right?
Oh.
That you were going to connect in this way and you're going to reach people all around the globe. And so we're preparing kids for a world that we don't know what it's going to be like. And so the only way to do that is to live really full, vibrant lives today so that they love life, that they love learning, that they are easy. They have easy personalities that can adjust and they can talk to people and have conversations. And so this message, the book, the movement, I always say is a message of hope that we can do less and yet gain more through play, through nature play, through spending time together and living full lives.
Beautiful.
Amazing. Amazing work that you're doing, Ginny.
Thank you.
All right. So before we wrap up, we ask all of our guests these last 3 questions. So the first one is, what's one thing that surprised you about becoming a parent?
How much work it is. Wow. Wow. It was like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
I did not realize how much work and how constant. Like it never ends. I think when you work, and you can be a really hard worker, you have a career or whatever that you're doing, you work hard in school, but you have this lull. You have time in the evening, you have time on the weekend, you sleep in one day. But when you become a parent for a very, very, very long time, especially depending on, it can depend, I guess, on the temperament of your kids, but you just are in it. And sometimes there's just no respite at all, except for going outside. But I didn't learn that for years. I didn't learn that for many years. So I think I was really surprised at how much work it was and how much of a failure I would feel like.
I am on the same boat with you, Jenny. So what does being a nurturing parent look like to you?
I think it's about being present. And I think we can't nurture if we're distracted because we don't know what's going on. We can't see. And sometimes I think the phones and the screens, they really contribute to this lifestyle of being distracted. And so when we look at our kids, I think if we don't know what's going on, we can't nurture them well. So sometimes they're really upset. Maybe it's because they're tired. Maybe it's because they are hungry. Or maybe it's because they're overwhelmed about this, that, or the other thing. And we have to know what's going on in order to appropriately respond. So I just find that the more that we're around and seeing what they have going on, the more we can nurture them in the ways that they need as they grow.
Mm-hmm. And with 5 children, you will know that every child is different and has different needs for how they get nurtured and feel nurtured. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How old's your youngest? Your oldest is 15 now.
7.
7. Beautiful.
15 to 7. These are some good years. No one's in diapers. And no one can drive. So we're like right in that sweet spot. It's really fun.
I always daydream about those stages and then I bring myself back and try to appreciate where I'm at right now.
Well, I think what's important to know, and people talk about this, but what's important to know is I think you'll get less busy. I do think it gets easier. I think that exhaustion, the piece of unpredictability where you don't know if your kid's going to throw a temper tantrum, you don't know what's going to set them off. I think that's emotionally and physically exhausting. So as your kids get older, it is less that. I think that it's a lot easier to parent when you've slept through the night. But what doesn't change is the busyness. Like you're still busy. And that's what's really surprised me. So if you're waiting for things to get less busy to go outside, don't wait because it doesn't get less busy. It stays busy because kids get busy with other types of activities. So you got to do it now and just deal with whatever stage that you're in.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking to that.
Started going outside on purpose when your oldest was 3. Now your oldest is 15. You've been doing it these 12 years. So Don't wait. You can do it now. If Ginny can do it with 3 little ones under the age of 3, you can do it, Mama. Whoever you are listening, you got this. You can do this.
Yeah. Okay, so our
Yeah.
last question is, where can our listeners find you and where can they get a copy of your new book?
Aw. Well, I'm real easy. I'm at 1000 Hours Outside, everything. So 1000hoursoutside.com, that's the social media. We also have an app that people track their time with. But on our website, we have all sorts of free resources, like these really cool tracker sheets and a kickoff pack. So that's where you can find those things. We have the 1000 Hours Outside podcast. So people like listening to podcasts, some fun episodes there. And then I have a couple books also called 1000 Hours Outside. More than one. There's actually 3 of them. So people have to sort that out on their own. They're all a little bit different. But the new book, which has its own title that I really wanted to write for a long time until the streetlights come on, is available wherever people buy their books. But through our publisher, bakerbookhouse.com, it's significantly reduced in price. I think it's 40% off for pre-order and maybe 30% off after that. So 40% off plus free shipping. So it's quite a bit of a discount. So people can get that though wherever they buy their books, and I'm excited about it. It's got a beautiful cover, and I hope that it brings hope to the reader.
So, listener, have a look for that book, Until the Streetlights Come On, by Ginny. Now, did I say your name right? Yurich? Yurich?
Yes, you sure did. Actually, usually people say Yurich, but it's Yurich. So way to go. That was amazing.
Ginny Yurich, Until the Streetlights Come On. I can hardly wait to read it, and I hope that you, reader, you listener, will go out and grab your copy wherever you do that. Thank you so much, Ginny. This has been an amazing time spent with you. Love this conversation.
Aw, it's been such an honor to be here. I love what you're doing about helping parents to be more nurturing. It's so important. This time with our kids flies by. I know everybody says that, but we really want to cherish these years the best that we can. So thanks for having me, Lisa and Serena. It's been a total honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Listener, we love you. Thanks for being here.
Okay, parents. So there is one and only one gem that I want you to get out of this episode. And that is to find your accountability partner and message them. Invite them out, whether it's today, tomorrow, this weekend, but message them. Just send it. Maybe they say yes, maybe they say no, maybe you go on your own. But really, I hope that you learn from this episode that parenting can be much more enjoyable by just getting outdoors. And I'm going to take this knowledge and apply it as well, because it is hard. It's hard, but it's hard being inside. I feel myself get so frustrated and start getting very reactive when I'm just inside doing chores all day, starting to build up resentment and not enjoying my life. And our littles are only this little for so long. We have to appreciate their ability to just be free and follow that. And it's such a gift. And it really was such a gift having Ginny on. It's a gift having you here and to be able to witness this conversation and learn from it just like me. So please, please, please find your accountability partner, message them, and go for it. Just get outside. Doesn't have to be planned. The only thing that you should probably plan is some snacks that you can bring and have fun. And I want to say this because my children are now 1.5 and 3. But the other day after school, their school is right next to a park. And there's so many times where I'm just like, okay, dinner, bath time, ready for bed. Like, it's one thing after the other. And I'm just like, it's a beautiful day. They can play on the playground. And their cousin was there as well. And even my 1.5-year-old, who is stuck to me like glue, they were just all running around in this field. And I didn't worry about anybody falling or getting hurt because it was all grass. And they were just running around. And it was the most relaxing hour I have experienced in a long time. And I was just amazed and how nice it was for me to just sit in silence while my kids were running around having fun. And I didn't have to be behind them. I didn't have to be encouraging them to play or go do this or push them on the swings. They were just running around in the field, and it was so relaxing. It felt really good. So please go out and do this. I'm going to do it as well. I will message more than one person, and we're going to go out because it's that easy. All right, mamas and daddies, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here with us. And don't forget about our boundaries workshop, November 20th. If you'd like the Zoom link, send us an email. Our email is thenurturingparent.pod@gmail.com. In the subject, just put boundaries, and we will share the Zoom link. And go out and purchase Ginny's book. It's amazing. She sent it to us. Thank you so much, Ginny. It's a beautiful read. So nostalgic. We love you. Bye-bye.
I want to sing with you. I want to dance with you. I want to laugh with you. Oh, how I love to be with you. I do. I do. Such a short time we've been together. Seems like a lifetime or two. Never knew I could love another